Hello everyone. This video is just gonna be about what I believe, like, since my walk with God has done for me, like what God has done for me and healed me and changed me throughout, like, these 3-4 months that I've found God. And I wanted to kind of share a little bit of, like, um, in more in detail of, like, certain things, instead of using such a broad stroke. But yeah, I just wanted to start it off with, like, anxiety, because I used to be one that had so much anxiety in their life that I was always anxious over even the smallest things. It didn't even have to be the biggest thing. It could just be like going to the grocery store, hanging out with friends, like if I'm not in the right, like, headspace, the right zone or whatever. So I'd let that voice in my head just like I would always live my life in the future. So, like, I never lived my life in the present because I was always fearful about what was happening in, like, what was going to be happening tomorrow, what was going to be happening 2 days from now, a week, a month, like a year from now. And I'm not saying that, like, it's not a bad thing to see the to feel those things, to like have a plan for like the next few days or whatever. But when that starts taking over your mental, more like, or taking over, like, how you act in the present, then I believe it's like too much. Like, it was too much for me, because, like, I used to just live my whole entire life, like I said, in the future, like what I was gonna do tomorrow. Like, if it had to be groceries, I had to be errands and stuff. That's all I would think about, was just my errands, my groceries I had to do tomorrow. If I had, like, a date or an appointment or something I had to do over the weekend or something, and I have like 5-6 days to go up until then, like, my mind would always be racing and just thinking and thinking of, like, oh, okay, I got to do this on Saturday, so I got to plan this, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I'm always constantly thinking of what I needed to do, like, few days ahead of time, which you don't realize. Like, I didn't realize until, like, God healed me from my anxiety, that that's no way to live life. Like, because you get caught up, like I would get caught up so much in living my life 3 days ahead of time that it would drain me mentally. It would drain me so much by the time, like, I even got to that date. I even got to, like, the date I was going, or the person I'm going to go see, or the family member I'm going to go see, or anything, like the doctor appointment I'm going to have to do. Um, Whatever it is that you're worrying about for the future date, like, by the time you get to that date, by the time you get to that thing, you don't even want to do it anymore, because you've thought about it so much. That I like, at least for me, I thought about it so much. I've gone through every single scenario. And a lot of the times when you think about those things, like, when you do those things, when you're thinking so much ahead of time and letting your anxiety race, you you allow negative thoughts come into your mind. So you just allow all these things come into your mind. So then, like, you go through the negative scenarios just as much as you go through the positive scenarios. So, like, if you were going on a date, you could see that, like, well, maybe so and so doesn't like me. Maybe what if I do this wrong, or I do that wrong, or if I forget to wash my clothes, or, like, all the scenarios and negative. And then by the time you get there, you're not as good as a mood you could be on the date. You could have already foreseen an outcome that might not even be a thing. So, like, we get caught up on the future so much that we forget to live in the present. And that's what I used to do, is I used to forget to live in the present. And because the present is a beautiful thing. Like, we live in the present right now. We don't live in our past. Like, we're not our past, like, our past mistakes. Like, we made our past mistakes, we made our past decisions and stuff, but those don't like we're not those, so we shouldn't be having anxiety about that, and we shouldn't have anxiety about the future because the future hasn't come yet. And if we think about too much of the future, then we strip ourselves from the present. And I used to do that all the time, and I still catch myself doing it every once in a while. But anytime I start fearing the future, if I start overthinking too much, and I feel my anxiety and my racing thoughts come back, I just go to God and tell him and ask him to hold my hand, ask him to hold me, tell me that everything's okay, that I got this, that I will make it till the next day, that when that thing comes, that I won't have to worry about it, because I won't have to worry about that date. I won't have to worry about that doctor's appointment. I won't worry about those things, because whatever outcome comes from those is just going to make us a better person. It's going to make us who we are. So we shouldn't fear those outcomes. We should just embrace those outcomes. And when you're walking with God and everything, like he allows you to feel that, like he allows me to feel that comfortability, that he calms my storm, and I don't have to have all those racing thoughts of negativity and positivity. I just don't have to have those, and now I'm not mentally as drained anymore, which is in turn giving me so much more energy to be in the present. Because like I said, I used to be the one that thinks 8,000 steps ahead of time, and 7,999 of them don't even come to fruition. So I spent hours, days, minutes, like wasting in the present, thinking of something that might not ever even happen, So we just need to remember that, like, we live in the present, and it's good to plan for the future, but it's healthy just to take a step back and know and remember that God, he has us. Like he has our back. Like he's not going to steer us in the wrong direction as long as we're listening for him. And there's no reason to fear tomorrow. There's no reason to have anxiety, because like I said, we strip us of all the opportunities we could have in the future. We like in the present, like hanging out with friends and family right now. Like I used to skip out on hanging out with friends and family. I used to skip out on going on like out to dinner, out to movies, out to whatever I was doing, because I was so mentally exhausted, so mentally drained thinking of the future, that I'm too tired to do anything now. And now that I stopped doing that, like it's a beautiful thing that like God's given me, that like now I don't have to worry about those things. That like I still know that I have to take care of earthly things, and I still need to take care of the bills, and I still need to go to the doctors and do all those things, but I don't worry about them like constantly now. Like I don't have, they're not me. And so I mean, if you guys are having anxiety, lots of anxiety about the future, about this goes for my brothers and sisters out there, this goes for any of the lost sheep out there, that if you guys are struggling with anxiety, if you're struggling with that remember that like we as humans, like we can only take so much up here, almost so much chaos, so much storm up here before we shut down, before we break. And that's when we need to turn to God and allow him to heal us, allow us to cure us of anxiety, tell us it's going to be okay. It's like going to your parent, your actual parent, and breaking down in their arms and saying like, I don't know how to do this, I'm scared. Like it's the same concept. Like go to God, break down in his arms, tell him that you're scared, tell him that you don't know like how to handle the future, and he will guide you through it. And I know that for a fact, because he's guided me through so much since I've found him, and he's cured me of my anxiety. And so if anyone's having anxiety out there, just remember that we have the best therapist, we have the best parent, we have our Heavenly Father up there to give us strength and get through and not have anxiety. So yeah, I love you guys, and God bless.